Hello, I am Amy Burby, and I have the pleasure of saying thank you on behalf of Lane Community College and all of our partners for being here tonight. We are ecstatic to celebrate the National Apprenticeship Week events for Lane, and we are doing it in a little bit of a different way. We have had some phenomenal parties in the years past. I believe we were one of the first community colleges in the state of Oregon, at least that was listed on the national website, that had an event, and we've continued to grow them, and we've had fantastic cake and speakers and raffle prizes. But this year we're going to do it a little bit different. So we have a fantastic group of panelists that have joined us, and we want to welcome you all. Please note that this is absolutely applicable for someone that is interested in becoming an apprentice, someone that is currently an apprentice at the Lane Community College, and any of the journeymen, because they all play a huge part in this, and of course our faculty, with all of our industry sponsors and supporters as well. So we're going to cover a whole lot of bases, and hopefully each of those demographics of people that might be interested in apprenticeship get a little fantastic nugget when we're done. So I was going to have, and I'll just start in, we have formed the idea of this event to do the past and the present and then the future. And there is a fantastic history with Lane Community College and the vocational technical, how it's grown and how it's continuing to grow. We see that, it started out in the Eugene Vocational School. Here's some statistics for you all to read. At one point, apprenticeship reached an enrollment of 700 trainees. Well, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but we do have almost 500 today. And there is, that is not including our pre-apprenticeship students, and that is not including students that are taking other courses that haven't even declared apprenticeship. So it's wild to me that in all these years, we are in the same situation of growth and numbers in continuing to work on the vocational training. And my grandpa was supposed to be here today. He actually, Steph, can you hit the next slide? He started volunteering for the movement from the Eugene Technical Vocational School to Lane Community College. And in 1962, he had great stories, and I was too bad. I prepped him a little bit on his verbiage and what he was going to, what he would say, because he's like, well, this was for schools that, kids that weren't college bound. And I'm like, but wait, they're college bound because they're all getting degrees, or they have the opportunity to get degrees. So there was some fantastic conversation, and I'm like, it's career technical now, not vocational. But we had lots of great conversation. But in 1962, he started volunteering. He was from Lowell, which is a very small district. And he said that in the local community, there was some apprehension, because of the money that it would cost the taxpayers. But he said overwhelmingly, they would knock on doors. I mean, they did the grassroots, the buttons, the cars. He said that they had painted things on cars to vote yes. He said that they, he said that he got to meet a lot of people throughout Lane County, and that was a fantastic experience because they were all so supportive of career technical education. Of course, I would say that. So he said that one of the highlights of his event in the past, of course, looking back, was they had a dinner for all of the folks. Once it passed, a celebration, and he said that the president was there, and he said that they all felt very valued for their work, and they felt huge success in creating something for tomorrow's youth. And I could relate to that. And I know that there's going to be several different panelists that you'll hear from tonight that absolutely feel that they are doing good work in leaving a mark on our local community, because when our children's children look back at this, you will see new buildings at Lane Community College that support apprenticeship, and you will see new pipelines and new even careers and occupations. So this is a tried and true process, a system. I know Oregon might do it a little different than the rest of the country, but it works. And we have a lot to be proud of. So that is the past. if I can go to the next slide. I love this data. In fact, I have this little screenshot ready to just post on my personal social media, because my goodness, I'm like, hello, seniors, check this out. Anybody looking to be something, look at all these different occupations and how much change has happened and how much is projected. The percentage of change is amazing, and we'll get into the future, but holy cow, let's just take a gander at 1997, there were 750 electricians, 920 now, and I will tell you the demand is just as high. I think, and Lee could speak to this, but I think Paul Ray, our construction faculty, said out of an orientation class, there's 15 students, 13 of them are sitting in there wanting to be electricians. So I think that these numbers, but then if you look at the carpenters, 70% change over time, heating and air conditioning, 41, plumbers, pipe fitters, 76. That's sizable. And so I think that if anybody looking to be and going into any of these trades, my goodness, there's some data that would support that. One, they're sustainable. Two, they're not going anywhere. And three, there's a whole huge future out there. So right now, Lane Community College does have, it says over 400 on the slide. I would be willing to bet we're almost to 500 if we were able to count a couple of the other local areas that actually use us as well. And then if definitely way over the 500, if we could get all of our pre-apprenticeship students tagged into that number, it would be actually very phenomenal and a large number. So at nighttime on campus, if you were to drive through Lane Community College in the evening, you drive through and you see, it looks like almost like a convention of the trades, because all of our parking lots are full. Like you see work van after truck, and all of these students that we're here supporting and celebrating tonight, they all work hard, and they come in and they are sweaty and they're dirty and they look like they are hungry and they have had long days, and yet they're going to class at night to get their related training. And that's the partnership that Lane has and offers, and we're very proud of that and very proud of them. So I think we can move on to the next slide now. And I think I get to now move on to the present. So I just gave you what it looks like in the parking lot and what we're doing. And I have the fantastic honor of introducing my friend and a phenomenal change agent in our local community, Shawn Vogel, who is the CTE regional coordinator for Lane Education Service District. Take it away, Shawn. Oh, and I guess I'm going to say, because I get to pretend that I get to be the MC of a podcast right now. That's how I'm envisioning this. I always wanted to do this. I'm just going to channel the Brene Brown and say, Shawn, please tell us about Lane Pack, how it evolved, where it came from, and the history, and where we are.
Thank you. Thanks, Amy. That was awesome. I want to go back and actually just really look closely at some of those photos. I want to know more about the history. You've got me intrigued about Lane's history there. That's pretty awesome. So thank you for that lead up, and it's great to be here. I am Shawn Vogel. I work out of Lane Education Service District as a CTE regional coordinator, and my role is really to support and help assist all of our CTE programs in Lane County. We serve 16 school districts from the coast all the way to the mountains, just like Lane Community College, same service district. And we have 14 construction technology programs specifically that are part of those 109. And those programs, since we're talking about the Lane Pact, we worked very hard several years ago and brought together our community college partners and industry, our coordinators from apprenticeship, and put together an application for a registered pre-apprenticeship program through BOLI, which got approved. And we are busy and hit the ground running, looking to recruit and encourage our folks in all of our high schools coming out of these programs, encouraging them to consider one of the trades. We are excited about some of the possibilities looking ahead, developing Lane Community College as a site, but I guess that's future, beyond. We're not quite there, but we're working towards that. In the meantime, we just really believe that this is an important connection to, as Amy was pointing out, all of these high wage, high demand positions in the community. We value the partnerships with LCC and with all of you on this panel. And Lee's going to speak more specifically to Lane Pact here in a second. So maybe, do you want to wait, Lee, till let's hear, or do you want to jump in now?
Let's jump in now. Oh, look at my hair. Okay, so hi, my name is Lee Kanowski. I teach construction and manufacturing for 4J part of the day. The other part of the day, I go off to the ESD and I help with it as a construction sector specialist. And in the evening, I go over to LCC and I teach the apprenticeships APR 101. So I get to travel all over the county. I get to work with high school students all over the county. And I want to let you know that high school students are really, really excited about the apprenticeship program. They're excited about the pre-apprenticeship programs that we're rolling out for students right now. They're working on trade skills fundamentals. They're working on classes in their own high school to prepare them for the trades. In the evenings, I come to LCC and I work with adults who are getting ready for the trades. And for the last 5 years, I've had 30-some students in my classes turning out every term, waiting to get into an apprenticeship program. They're excited. They know what they want to do. They're waiting for their opportunities for these apprenticeships to open up for them. We go through everything they need to know about being an apprentice. We give them points for the things that they know, the things they do, the things they'll learn. My goodness, I have students right now who are driving down from Portland 2 nights a week. I have students coming up from Roseburg and some coming over from Bend just to take these classes to get ready for the apprenticeship programs around here. So I'm excited to do all my work, especially with the high school students, because right now, the typical age of an apprentice is 27 years old. Back in the 80s, it was 18 years old. And we're starting to see that our students are becoming better consumers of their education. They know what student debt is. They hear about it on the news. They hear about it from their parents and their siblings. So they're becoming good consumers, and they know the trades are a way to go with little or no debt and start earning high wage, high demand jobs. So I'm really excited for the work that LCC is doing and the school districts are doing, getting our students ready for the opportunities ahead. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am happy to hear the jack of all trades, or the Lee of all trades in this case, because he literally is all over the county and everything. And you often think, well, okay, Lee, what role are you playing? Because he represents all of them all the time. So it's pretty fantastic and an amazing pipeline, actually. We'd like to clone him a bunch. So thank you for your efforts in supporting apprenticeship and really giving the pre-apprenticeship students in your APR 101 what it looks like, what a day in the life looks like, and really preparing them for what they're selecting for their occupation. I know that I believe we have some committee coordinators. I do. Steph, could you put this slide up for the getting started? I think we have a little slide to show. We have on our website, on our apprenticeship website at Lane Community College, we have a getting started flyer. And what that is it tells the student what of the 9 different occupational trades that we have at Lane under our apprenticeship department. And of course, more apprenticeship opportunities are happening and growing, and we'll get to that. But for our division, those carpenters, HVAC technician and installers, limited energy technicians, sheet metal workers, inside electricians, limited maintenance electricians, manufacturing plant electricians, millwrights, plumbers. So those are, and glazers. We have the newest one, and we are working on getting that in our catalog, but we have added the glazer program as well. So we have 9 different occupational trades, and we have community coordinators. So the college acts as the related training. We do the coursework at night. They go over codes, they go over theory, they go over all of the things that the textbook would want them to learn, because they're learning on the job during the day. And like I said, most of them are apprenticeship students. All of them work during the day and then come to campus or to the classroom, or to Zoom, however we're handing the curriculum out during this fantastic pandemic. But most come to the classroom and do their training and learning at Lane. We have Janie Daniels, who is our committee coordinator for the plumbers. And Janie, can I ask you just a few questions?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. Good to see you.
You too.
I feel like I have a microphone and we're sitting like on a couch, and I can, I don't know, channeling my Jay Leno or something, Johnny Carson. Now I'm aging myself. Anyway, could you tell us how would a student prepare? Like what advice do you give a student who's preparing to be a plumber? What to put their portfolio together and to collect the information, or somebody that thinks that they want to be a plumber? What would you say to that student?
Well, I always share with them the scoring method that we use for ranking the applications on our Ready for Hire list. That's really important to get started with that. And then I give them more information about how to get those items together, what kind of documentation that we need. But there's so many things that they can do as far as taking classes. At LCC, the PreApprenticeship, of course, is an awesome way to get started. Getting a job as a laborer with one of our companies, and we can help them with that as far as job shadow or internships. We always want to have them, get a little bit of taste of what the trade is, so that they know that, yes, this is what they want to do, or maybe they choose a different trade along the way. But that's the focus that I do, is letting them know how we score those applications so that they know what they need to do to get a high ranking and get dispatched as soon as possible.
Fantastic. How many people are on your list, and how is the selection process for plumbers? Because each of them have different lists and different selections.
Yes.
How does plumbers do it?
We currently have 80 apprentices in our program. My list is down to about 15, so we're going to be opening really soon, probably in February. We just don't have those dates set yet, but I'm going to be starting on that soon. So we have a few more that are coming in over the next week or two, and we need some new people. So reach out to me, get on my notification list so that I can send everybody who's interested those dates once we set those.
And do you have a website that they can contact you or to learn more about?
Yes.
What is your website?
area3plumbers.com.
Perfect. You can also go to our Lane Community College apprenticeship, go to the Getting Started flyer, and then you'll get Jannie's information if you're looking forward to being a plumber, and as well as all of the other committee coordinators and their contact information. If you're interested in becoming and potentially, starting Lane and preparing your portfolio and taking the classes, getting on the list is helpful, because you will be notified when they are open, and it's a good way to at least introduce yourself to the coordinators. So thank you, Jannie. Next, we have Michelle Erickson, who is an owner and electrician of Balanced Electric. Michelle, are you here?
We have been in business since April 2013. We're women owned and operated, and we actually have a woman apprentice as well who's about ready to go take her test. So we're a small company. We do a lot of generator installations. We pride ourselves in doing a quality job, but more importantly, of listening to our customers. So it's been great. We're super busy. We're having fun still, and we do remodels and kitchen remodels and bath remodels as well, and work for some wineries and some pot farms. And so we don't do a ton of commercial work, but a little bit of residential, a little bit of commercial. And both Kim and I are both electricians. Kim is actually a supervisor electrician, and I'm a journeyman. And I did the Lane Community Program back in 1990, I started. And with that, I started in October 1990, joined class, which was great, and got right in and turned out in June of 1994. And then started Erickson Electric with my ex-husband. And then I've been, working for other contractors and doing it. So it's been great. And it's great to see some women getting in the trades as well. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But the apprentice, the Balance Electric loves having apprentices. We're a training agent. So we only can have one, but I don't know. I'm sure you'll be talking about apprentices here at some point, but yeah, so that's Balance Electric.
I love this. Thank you so much. I am so thrilled that I love everything about this. And you're right. We are increasing every year. Our numbers are increasing for females in the trades. And this is a fantastic occupation and a fantastic opportunity. And I am out there in the high schools often telling the young ladies, like, listen here, this is a good gig. So I love that you're here, and thank you for being an industry partner that one, went through our program, two, can speak to the validity and how it's changed your life, and then what an opportunity then to be a training partner and take the apprentices back and continue to grow. So that is fantastic. Could you talk a little bit about the typical, what the on-the-job training looks like?
So we're a small company, and so our apprentice comes with tools on, and you hit the deck running. It's not a bunch of lollygagging or shop time or anything like that. So you're working right with a supervisor electrician, and so the schooling and the apprenticeship and all the pre-stuff is really awesome that's available these days, besides YouTube as well. We didn't have YouTube when I was starting, so it's meet at the job. Sometimes our apprentice now is a ninth stage, so she's doing service work as well. But so our other apprentices that we've had, again, it's just, if we're roughing in a house, you're drilling holes, you're pulling wires, you're figuring out circuits, we're talking you through the whole thing. We're really, we need you as a team player. So which is a little different than the bigger shops like I've worked for in the past, where you kind of show up and you hope that you're gonna go out that day to go work, and la-di-da-di. So being a small shop, I think we give our apprentices a really good training. Again, we don't do industrial or lots of the big commercials, so we're limited in that. But I tell apprentices that it's your apprenticeship. So this is going to be what you make of it, not what I make of it, not what you're going to learn in school. You got to figure this out. And a lot of apprentices, and I tell them right in the beginning, I say, if we're not giving you what you want as an apprentice, if this isn't what you want to do, then you should quit and go find a contractor that can give you what you want. Because at the end of 4 years, we're not going to, there's not going to be any difference. Except your next employer is going to expect you to know so much. And if you're not getting that training from us or from anybody, that you need to move on. And yeah, I mean, I think the other hard part for apprentices, especially women in this, I'm a woman contractor, so, we just work differently, but women that are starting in the trades, I think they need to have thick skin. Guys are guys, and this is a very male dominated trade. But one of the things that women can bring to this to do better is to be smarter than the people that they're working with. So, I tell apprentices all the time, is getting, let's get, read the code book, look at the YouTube, do whatever you can to gain knowledge, because at the end of the day, that journeyman wants to work with smart apprentices. And if you're smarter than the other 3 guys that are in the shop, they're going to take you to the job to get the job done, because they know you're thinking. So, yeah.
That is fantastic advice. This is perfect. I mean, this is the present. This is today, and you're building tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, our next panelist is the phenomenal Rick Dobson. He is he can introduce himself. I could say a whole bunch about him, but I'll go ahead and let him say a whole bunch about his impact and the work that he does and what he's responsible for. And he can tell us some about his students. Rick, are you ready?
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't decide to tell them everything, Amy. I'm been teaching since 1997 at Lane. I started out year 4. I still teach year 4. I teach year 3, just took that on this year. And with the pandemic, it's been a real challenge to get things in a place where I feel good about what we're doing for the apprentices, as far as the level of education we can give them at Lane. Fortunately, this hybrid situation that we do a Zoom and then online. We had one of the highest, if not, I believe it was the highest score I ever had out of a year 4 guy. But I think we may have had the highest score in the state of Oregon last year for a apprentice turning out, which was like a 98.6. So phenomenal score, and it was accomplished in a hybrid class. So I think and I'll say this because I'm 65 and I can, I think the younger generation of workers are more attuned to tech and tech learning. So they seem to excel at tech learning. So we've had really, really good results. Year 3, I think there's kind of a bit of a hole there for them because they're not maybe progressed as far as the year 4 guys and gals, but they still are grasping it fairly well. And I would look forward to, even if we can take baby steps here and end up going back to one night FaceTime at the school, we could still get it accomplished that way, even with year 3, I believe, because when you're testing and assessing, that can all be done online. That can be done on a computer, and it's fairly easily accomplished. It's I don't understand how you get that answer for that question. And there's where the FaceTime actually could come in, and you could say, let's go down to the shop and we'll just check this out and show them. So that is a little bit of a hole that I'm seeing with what we're doing, but we're still covering our bases, and I think they're still getting a fairly well-rounded education in the plumbing trade. And I also, we've talked pre-apprenticeship, but I'm also teaching a open to the public basics fundamentals of plumbing. So that really directs, like, someone coming out of Lee's class that's decided they're interested in plumbing, but they maybe haven't dipped their toe in the water quite enough to decide. That class kind of tells them, do I want to do this or not? And we actually had really good results. We had about, correct me if I'm wrong, Janny, but I think we had about 20% of that fundamentals, plumbing fundamentals class that actually headed into the apprenticeship. We had a couple of women out of the class. We've had some minorities out of that class. And I think our numbers are looking better in both those areas for the plumbing trade, because as Michelle was saying, you think about a guy's world out there in the trades. Well, think about plumbing. And as far as being, you're a young woman, you show up and these guys are dragging pipe wrenches around and banging on stuff and just, it could be a little bit intimidating, but the trade is evolving greatly also with the methods of assembling pipes and the way that piping is done anymore in general. Fixtures are still fixtures. There's technology involved in them, but they're still basically set the same way, connected the same way. The materials you use to do that, though, are progressing and changing swiftly. So that being said, it's much more user-friendly for women to come into the plumbing trade now. And Naira, one of our third-year apprentices, is here, and I think she's going to speak. And I think she could address that too a little bit, how you're not lugging an 80-pound piece of cast iron on your shoulder, as you're not expected to do that anymore anyway, even if you're a guy. It's a 50-pound weight limit. But you're not working in that environment as much as you used to be. It's still out there. The really large industrial commercial stuff is still out there, and but it's mostly done with equipment and ways to lift it. So it's not so much physical anymore. It's less physical, and that's a good thing for both sexes, because it really trades can really break your body down. And I know I've been doing this 36 years now, and I have sore knees and a sore back and sore hips and sore lots of stuff some days when I'm done working. But it is not as bad as it used to be. But and as far as apprenticeship at Lane, I can't say enough for the support that Amy has gave us over the years, and she's been such a dear to help out when she had her own workload and she had her own thing going on, but she's always stepped up and had way too much on her plate from time to time, but she always steps up and helps us. Joy also has just been tremendous to step in there and help us out. And Jenny took over for Russ and has been phenomenal as a coordinator that way, is taking care of getting apprentices signed up, getting information out to them, new people coming into the program. So I, for one, feel really good about the plumbing part of apprenticeship at Lane. Like I said, I've been teaching there since '97. I hope to keep going for another 5 years maybe, but then I'm gonna step down. But anyways, that's pretty much what's going on there now, and I think the future's bright.
Yes, it is. And I love the connection. I love the connection between the synergy that happens between the college, the committee, the instructors, the students, because that's really what it's about. It's that pipeline and that's where, we've talked about past, we talked about Shireen, and we talked about all the CTE in the high schools. We talked about Lee going out to the high schools. We talked about pre-apprenticeship a little bit. We've talked about your intro, your fundamentals course, and all of that. It speaks to the present, but also speaks to the collaboration between all of our parts that make the sum pretty amazing for these students. So thank you, Rick. I appreciate that.
And just briefly, Lane has also stepped up with support for classrooms. I mean, when I started teaching, we were in the old modular, and just finding a corner to have class was a challenge sometimes. We're building a new training area. This is all going to be great, I think, for the Eugene Springfield area, Lane County. They're going to have a better place to come to learn. It's going to be great.
It is. Thank you, Rick. I sure appreciate this. Rick alluded to Naya, the plumbing student. Naya Campbell is our plumbing student that we would love to interview now. So obviously, Rick said that you're in the plumbing apprenticeship program. And can you tell us, what year are you? What does it look like being a student? How is it the coursework? How do you balance it with the on-the-job training? Can you give us a day in the life of a plumbing student?
Sure. First of all, my name is Naira. It's okay.
I said Naya.
Sure. Mine might look a little different because there's a pandemic going on, so I've been home a little more with my son. Some of my days are like differently set up, but usually when I was working full time, it would be get the kids to school, and then I work with my husband, so it's probably a little less, well, it could be more stressful or less stressful depending on how you look at it, than some big shop that, you know, go to work, different jobs. We do a lot of service work. So I love it because it's new and different all the time. We're not just on a house for a month fitting pipe. We've done jobs like that, but we do a lot of different things and it changes every day. Some days you get really muddy and wet and dirty, and some days you're inside all day. And then, you know, usually balancing the work isn't too bad. Right now is a little difficult. Chapter 6 is proving to be hard. It's gonna be okay, Rick. I'm gonna get through it. But for the most part, I've been all right balancing through them both.
Where do you see yourself? What is this future? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What is with this training and this progression of your career, where do you see this taking you?
So my hope, kind of like Michelle mentioned, we're a really small business. It's my husband is the journeyman and I'm his apprentice. And so we basically, how I fell into this is we had a hard time keeping employees. It's really hard work for people, and they get one job digging a ditch and they don't come back the next day, or they'll last 2 days, 3 days, but they don't last very long. So I was taking office calls for, I don't know, 3 years leading up to it. And I said, geez, I know so much about plumbing just from calls. Why don't I just join the apprenticeship? I like being outside. I like getting dirty. I like working hard. So the hope is that he'll continue to he dives the pumps and he does a lot of hands-on tech work that I don't know that I'll ever grasp, but the hope is that I can be the one that does the simple sort of service work, putting in faucets, unclogging toilets, just take that load off of him so he can be, you know, where he's needed more or less on those.
Fantastic. Naira, do you imagine then taking an apprentice when you?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
That's the hope. We just had another young woman, actually. We have the best luck, it seems like, with women. She's hoping to eventually move here, but she was commuting an hour to work. But I think she'll probably return. And then, because when I turn out, that was what we discussed, that she would be my apprentice. She's easy to work with. She's super great at communication. She's good with the customers. She works really hard. So, and I feel like it's sometimes easier. I think it might be easier for me to train an apprentice than my husband, because he's too in his head with work. And sometimes I have to remind him, like, you have to communicate with your apprentices. They don't know what they're doing. You know, if you're brand new on a job, sometimes you just have no idea what's going on. So I find that probably will be my role, because I enjoy working with people and talking to people and helping people out.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much, Naira. I really appreciate you logging on here and doing this. Of one of the million or handful of hundreds of our apprenticeship students, we are pleased and so proud. And really this event, I mean, and I'll say it again, but it's really celebrating you guys, because this is, we're so proud of all of our apprentices. And so thank you for speaking on behalf of them. I know sometimes we asked a bunch of students and they were like, oh.
I know. How am I the only one here? This is kind of embarrassing.
No, I say yes. So you go. So all right. Thank you so much. Okay, now I have a future slide somewhere about the growth and the pre-apprenticeship programs, new programs, and the regional and national commitment to apprenticeship. So I will say that Lane Community College is absolutely doing a lot right now in the world of pre-apprenticeship. Shireen spoke to being a site earlier, or having a lane pack, which focused on the high school students able to start and finish an apprenticeship, a registered pre-apprenticeship in the state of Oregon. But with the pandemic, we realized that there were students that started and then students that couldn't complete. And so we were able to, and are moving forward in putting forth the documentation, and have had guidance from Bully on how to make Lane a site and be able to help the students that had started in high school and then could come to Lane, continue to go through the checklist and continue to take those courses, get the credit, and then turn it back to a registered pre-apprenticeship certificate, which then will help them advance in their application process. So we're thrilled to be working on that. We're working on a career pathway certificate. We're doing a lot of work. Right now we have 3 pre-apprenticeship classes, but we don't have a true apprenticeship program. So we are working on developing that as well. So there's lots of things happening at Lane when it comes to the pre-apprenticeship world. And Lane hosts 9 apprenticeship occupational trades. They're all non-union with the certified site. This the union would also be giving some points to applicants that are applying. They want to be a plumber, they apply for the union and non-union. And so we want to give all of our students all of the availabilities to proceed with their dreams of their occupation. So that's a little bit about what's going on in the future. So it's all coming. There's a lot of work that's being done now. And then I'm going to go ahead and I want to talk about, and this is the Roger part, because I love to see his face, but Roger Ebbage is here, and I believe he has some colleagues, and they have a new apprenticeship that's happening at Lane as well. So Roger, would you like to give us a little intro on what you've got going on?
I sure will. I want to thank you very much, Amy, and very good to see you, and some others on here too. Lee, how are you, man? Anyhow, the apprenticeship program for building energy and controls is brand spanking new. We received our apprenticeship program approval the 1st of October. That's how new we are. The building energy management program from which this has grown has been around since 1980. I took it over in 1992. And so we've been at Lane ever since then, and we've moved with the different employment occupations. We'd add an option here, maybe an option there. And we've landed on the controls side of our industry as not only an option, but we've changed our entire program to become the energy management and controls program, simply because there is long-term projections for energy management and the control industry. So for all of this time, we've had ebb and flow of student populations. They would come when whoever in the White House said, oh, clean energy this or solar that. And so we have been very overwhelmed with students, and we have been very under-enrolled. And currently we're starting to gain traction again. The reason why our industry has had this ebb and flow is because we're kind of behind a curtain. Nobody knows what we do. We're not carpenters like Lee, or plumbers like was it Richard? I'm sorry. Richard, yeah, like Richard's group, or electricians like Michelle. I mean, you all are out there, and people see what you do as they drive by, and nobody sees energy managers. And so a Department of Energy RFP came by my desk one time, and at the same time it came by the University of Oregon Energy Studies and Buildings Lab out of the School of Architecture. They were looking at this as well. And so we joined forces, got a grant from the Department of Energy, and created this apprenticeship program. And it is a very traditional program. Like I said, it was just approved to go into operation the 1st of October. Great stuff. So the related training is our 2-year degree program, and the on-the-job training is 2,000 hours of a competency-based model of on-the-job training. So just excited to have this going. We are beginning to get a little traction. It takes a little marketing. We have to get to the Shireens of the world to start pitching this to all of the districts in her educational service district, but we're also reaching out to other educational service districts around the state, and in fact, around the Western United States. And the reason we can do that is because our program is 100% online, except for the on-the-job training. Of course, that's on the job. So I'll stop there, and I would like to introduce a couple of people. One is Kimberly Ferris, who is our program, our JATC manager. And then there is our employer, one of our employers is David Volz. And so, Kimberly, would you like to start?
Sure. So like Roger said, we just got approved October 1st. We're really thrilled to get this off the ground finally. It's been a pleasure working with Roger and Brenda, and I also am the program administrator for the Glacier program. So I've already had a relationship with Amy and Joy over at Lane Community College, and I'm so thrilled to be able to do this partnership with them as well for the Becca Apprenticeship Program. So applicants would apply with ABC, and then we would connect them with an employer. They do their training through Lane Community College. And then after they complete the 2,000 hours of on-the-job training and those competencies that were developed with the JATC for what boxes they need to check to be a competent energy analyst and building controls technician. So once they complete that, they'll complete our program and get their journey level certificate, and they're on their way to an amazing career. And as Roger and Brenda and the whole team over there in their department can attest, this is only growing. So we're really excited to get it started now.
So before David comes on, thank you, Kimberly. Before David comes up, you know, I said our growth has been big and it's been weak, and a lot of the growth comes from whatever is coming out of the White House. So we had Clinton in '92, we had Barack coming through in '08, and now we have Biden. I don't want to get political here, but those are green energy presidents. Those are the people, the clean energy presidents. And so, as you all know, Biden just signed a infrastructure bill that is going to help us all. I don't care what your apprenticeship program is, it is going to help us all. It will significantly help us in the energy world because clean energy, climate change on the front burner all the time now. It's not one of those things that you think about and go, oh, yeah, that's right, global climate change. Well, you know, our forests have been burning for the last 5 years. There is no water, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're right out there in front now. And I expect our population just to start going through the roof, actually. So I'm hoping. And so now what I'd like to have you hear, the guy I'd like to have you hear from is David Volz. David is our employer representative. So David, are you on?
I did have the pleasure of going through an apprenticeship program as an electrician many years ago, and I kind of stumbled into the building automation side of things. I am thrilled to have been working with Roger and Brenda and everybody at Lane to develop this apprenticeship program. It's something the industry's needed for ever. You know, a lot of times stepping into the building automation industry has been something people do on accident. You got electricians, you got plumbers, you got pipe fitters that kind of become building controls people rather than it being a cultivated trade. And so, you know, you guys in the program that have been going, you know, since the 90s, and now it's been codified and solidified, and it's exciting stuff. And I'm looking to see what the program develops. See what kind of candidates it churns out so that we can start putting people to work.
Yay. Thank you very much, David.
Hey, happy to be here.
I will say that David was our representative from our JATC that presented to the Apprenticeship Commission, the group that had to approve our application, our proposal. And little did I know coming in that David has a theatrical degree. So that helped. You know, he put the emphasis where it needed to be.
Oh, fantastic. Maybe we could partner up because we have some presentations in front of the council that we can use. All right.
Well, just one more thing. When we took our proposal to Bowie, the guy, John, I can't remember John's last name, but he was impressed with the fact that it wasn't a traditional apprenticeship program because we're quasi-professional.
Sure.
You know, I looked at that picture that you had on earlier, Amy, and saw these guys in bib overalls and you know, Carhartt jeans and jackets. That's not our group. Our group, you would probably see them in Dockers and maybe a button-down collared shirt and that kind of stuff. So we're a different breed, and Bowley thought, let's give this a try.
And that's, I think that's the apprenticeship. I mean, that's what's happening across the nation. And that's why apprenticeship is such an amazing opportunity for students that are interested in being, because there are so many occupations to choose from.
Right.
So thank you. I do have two more.
I will say just real quickly, we are the first one of these apprenticeships in the country.
Oh, well,
There isn't another one like this. And so
congratulations. This is fantastic and good for all of you to put the time into building this.
Thank
Great to
you.
see you. So as we're speaking about the future of apprenticeship, Abby, I said I was not going to mess up your last name. And I know I will, and now I'm nervous to say it. Vanderrugger. I see I messed it up.
It's
Abby,
okay. It's Banderaga.
Thank you. Talk to us about the future of apprenticeship at the state level. Like tell us what you see.
Sure. First, thank you so much for having me here. I'm a complete apprenticeship nerd. I came from pre-apprenticeship. My brothers and my dad's a journey level electrician. That being, my brothers all knew how to wire houses before they even graduated from high school. And that being said, I was never invited to participate, never invited to go out on the job site. I love everyone you have here today. They just touch every part of why I'm such an apprenticeship nerd. So thank you for letting me participate and getting to be in this space with you all. And I think this was a really good lead up, because it is a really exciting, and it's an exciting time for apprenticeship. And it's also a time where we're seeing a lot of change. We're never going to see the core group that was responsible for the apprenticeship model since the beginning of time go away. We're always going to need our plumbers, our carpenters, all of those folks for whom apprenticeship is the model of teaching. And especially with the new infrastructure bill that's been passed, now more than ever, we're going to continue to see growth in those industries. And I think for reasons that have already been said in this call, that I'll hit on again, we're also seeing more industries become amenable to the apprenticeship model. And part of that is, again, the cost of securing a college education, the amount of debt that one has to go into to start out 4 years, 6 years, 8 years later, depending on what degree you're pursuing at an entry level. And it's a really hard burden. And I think families are seeing that. And I think we're also seeing a cultural shift where we're starting to reevaluate and value again the kind of labor that builds our community, builds our infrastructure, really creates our nation. And so that's been really exciting to see. And in that kind of shift in thinking about how you attain education, how you attain competency and expertise in these fields, we're seeing more and more fields come to the apprenticeship model. And it's not always easy to make it work, but sometimes it is. And sometimes it's just a matter of changing some hearts and minds on the ground. And so we have seen like the BECA program, which was just approved. And I think we will be seeing a lot more in the alternative and green energy space emerging over the next couple of years. Absolutely. We're also seeing programs like behavioral health and the other care economies, like medical assisting, certified nursing assisting, earlyhood childhood development certifications. We're seeing those kind of industry groups approach us to look at doing apprenticeship in that space as well. And we're really excited about that. And I feel very strongly about it in the care economy, behavioral health, healthcare, because childcare, all of those traditionally are really low wage jobs. And if you step back and think about the work that those individuals are doing and who they're caring for in our community, they are woefully underpaid for having such great responsibility for are folks that need that care. And so the hope is that in building these models of apprenticeship as a pathway in those specific areas, that will not only, they're also very short of people right now due to the pandemic and the low pay and the amount that they've had to witness during this pandemic as well, and the hardship that is. So hopefully in building up the workforce in those areas, we're also going to build a better rate of pay for those really instrumental workers in our economy by guaranteeing that they have a level of training that is easily recognizable across the state. IT is also going to be a really tremendous area of growth, information technology. And so, we would really like to be able to get a sustainable program in the IT sectors, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's building up the IT networks across the state that are also desperately needed. We would really like to work with some industry partners to get those rolling as well. So we really just anticipate seeing growth in a number of areas. I also want to briefly touch on what Roger talked about in terms of them being a competency-based program. And we are very much looking at the way, and we're not the only state doing this, this is happening around the country, but many of our statutes and the regulatory language around apprenticeships was really built with the construction trades in mind, and those aren't always amenable to programs outside of the construction trades, especially when you get down to areas of ratio for supervision. So we're really working with our policymakers and legislators to kind of keep these core rules with regards to the traditional trades that are necessary for safety. You want the proper level of oversight for people that are building your elevators or operating the crane above your head. But in an IT program where someone might be supervising you from a distance, that we need to create laws that are amenable to that and allow for supervision that works within the structure of different training programs. So we now have a handful of competency-based programs, which is fantastic. And that's not a direction that the Apprenticeship and Training Division had previously been going. We're totally welcoming to hybrid programs that are a mix of the traditional time-based and the competency-based program. So we feel like we're very forward-looking. We will brainstorm through all of the potential pitfalls and what things we're going to have to need to address with our policymakers and our legislatures. But we're excited, and we really do want to move apprenticeships into any area in which it seems like the way to go for a specific industry without incurring a lot of debt and being able to come out 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, not at an entry-level position and still having earned money. And as we all know, with the community college group here, also coming out with a degree or near a degree. And many programs, I don't know that a lot of people outside of our little bubble realize that even in what we consider the more traditional apprenticeship programs, the carpenters, the plumbers, all of that, that by the time you complete your registered apprenticeship program, you either have your degree or you're very close to your associate's transfer degree. And it's really just a couple more credits that you need to get that associate's degree. And so it's such a fantastic opportunity, which is why I get really nerdy about being here and talking about the future. And the last thing I'll touch on, and then I really want to give Adrian a chance to talk about this at a national level, because I know we're a small cog in a machine where apprenticeship is happening in all of our states and territories across places you probably don't even think of sometimes, is the piece about the diversification of apprenticeship. It warms my heart to see a woman-owned business of electricians, to see a woman plumber that's going to become a journey worker and take on more plumbers. It is so important. And I think we have recent statewide administrative rules that have taken effect around equal employment opportunity and registered apprenticeship. But we have to continue to keep apprenticeship open to everyone, regardless of if you're from a community of color, regardless of if you're female identified, trans, non-binary, whomever you are, because you're building the communities, and the folks that are building your communities, whether it's the visible infrastructure or the invisible infrastructure, the folks that are building those communities should look like the people that are in those communities. They should be from those communities. And so we are really, really invested in helping programs meet their obligations under equal employment opportunity, but also not even thinking about it as an obligation. We are opening these opportunities to everyone. We want to bring them in, and we want to create an industry-wide safe space where folks that don't look like the traditional person that you think of when you think of an iron worker or a plumber, where they can complete their apprenticeship and have that access to the middle class, access to family wage careers without having additional burdens because they don't look like folks that traditionally did this 20 years or 50 years ago. So that's a huge, I'm really excited to hear about the diversity that's happening and the programs that spoke today. It's really impressive, and that's a huge commitment for us with any project going forward. And that's a question that our state council will always ask any new program. How are you doing outreach to everyone in your community, not just specific groups? And so that's something that any new program should be thinking about. Anyone that wants to start a new program should be thinking about is how are we going to do research to everyone in our community and not just who we may have in our field of vision as what a line worker looks like, or etc. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Abby. You have been such a phenomenal resource of information for all of us. I say all of us, I speak for all of the community colleges that you get, because it's not just us knocking on your door saying, how do we do this? It's we know at the state level, you are phenomenal. So thank you. And thank you for your time, and thank you for coming in and being with us. My last panelist, and I just doing a time check. I know it's 5:04. We're gonna bust this out. This is our last panelist, but we are so elated to have someone from the American Association of Community Colleges, the Executive Director, Adrienne Summers. Could you talk to us on the national level about the future of apprenticeship?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Amy, and thank you everyone else for having me. I bring greetings on behalf of the American Association of Community Colleges. So just to give you a little bit of background about AACC, we obtained a grant from the Department of Labor in 2019. So again, this was prior to the pandemic. Who knew this was going to happen? The grant was $19.8 million. And we have 8 college consortiums involved, 31 colleges that are sponsoring registered apprenticeship, 58 individual colleges that are participating in this particular grant. So a total community college participation of 106 community colleges across the country. Our goal was 16,000 apprentices, of which effective September 30th, I can say we had 15,647. Unofficially, I can say, yes, we have reached our goal, but it is not a goal that has been verified fully yet. So we definitely are within 97% of our goal as of September 30th. And interesting enough, and again, this was an apprenticeship grant that was provided prior to the pandemic, but the apprentices that we have served, 79% have either been in advanced manufacturing or construction. So that's leaving about 20, not quite, a little more than 20% that are all the other. And I think if nothing else, the pandemic has shown that there's flexibility. You know, everything was always traditional apprenticeship. You can see that with our numbers. I think here's a perfect opportunity for some of the non-traditional apprenticeships to really start to shine and for people to really understand what it is. The key component is to educate the employers of what it is, how it can benefit them. And certainly there is, Secretary Walsh actually had a presentation today with the Urban Institute. I believe it was Urban, or it was Brookings, I believe, this morning. And he specifically mentioned apprenticeship. That is part of many of the opportunities that are going to be forthcoming in many of the new opportunities through the Department of Labor. And again, with that 1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, it specifically is listing your clean energy, which you're in a prime position with your brand new program that you've just developed. So kudos to Roger with the development of that new program. Infrastructure specifically has been clean energy. It's going to be broadband. So there's still an opportunity for IT because of the networking and cabling aspect of the IT world, and a lot of other factors surrounding that. And I think that employers are finally starting to realize, I need a labor force, I need a workforce. And apprenticeship is certainly something that can develop that. Interesting enough, some of the statistics from Secretary Walsh, there are 2.6 million women that are still missing from the workforce, which is still lower than March of 2020. So that is a sector that there should be a lot of opportunities between childcare and figuring out how can we get women back to work? How can we also factor in the transportation issues, the childcare issues, the COVID issues, and the healthcare issues? Because if a child has COVID, and a mom has to stay home, that's creating another burden on the family. Apprenticeship was specifically mentioned with Secretary Walsh. It allows someone to get in and understand and lay the foundation for the workforce going forward. Community colleges are very prime to be able to deliver workforce development programs and apprenticeships. That's what we've done. We're good at doing that. And we need to continue and really embrace the workforce innovation, because it's a prime opportunity to innovate ourselves and not do the same old thing. Because obviously the employers, we can't do the same thing that we've done prior to the pandemic. And it is certainly something that is recognized much more at this point in time of being innovative. We don't have to do the same old thing. And if we're not successful, we've learned something from it and we adapt and are flexible in order to develop something that does work for the program that we're trying to promote. Make those connections with those employer partners. That's a key to a lot of this. There will be, a lot of funding that is going to be coming down the pike. And from AACC's point of view, we're here to support our members. Lane has already produced 300 apprentices for, as part of that 16,000 that we have. At this point in time. So you've done a terrific job of assisting and helping these students develop their career and an opportunity for their career.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was going to brag about that. I was going to say, and then there's us. We were the only college in the state of Oregon to receive that grant. And our goal was 150 students. And
correct.
296, it was like, yes. So I'm so glad that we're at 300.
Well, I pulled up the numbers right before this presentation and it is listed at 300. So
perfect. Yep. I stopped counting, or I shouldn't say I stopped counting, but at least the last one I did a celebratory, like we doubled our expectation. So we
absolutely
are doing something right. So thank you. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. And we're so thrilled to have all of the panelists here. I want to say, I think there might be one more slide for appreciation, but I want to, Stephanie Wicks is behind the scenes. She hasn't spoke, but she has been phenomenal at putting this together. So she also has been the grant, she has helped the ECHA grant and been our grants person that has been responsible for this this whole time, and she's phenomenal, as well as Joy Crump, who is our go-to everything, all things apprenticeship at Lane Community College. So I want to say this is where we would cut cake and get to visit and talk to our apprenticeship students, and I'm sorry that we can't, but we see you. We are so thrilled and so mesmerized by the hard work that you do. and then you come in. I mean, we see you hungry and tired, and we see you grinding. We see you continuing to do the work, and we see you level up. And then we see the new truck in the parking lot. And then we see you go be journeymans. And then we see a lot of the students, and I'm hoping that they take advantage of the AAS degree, because apprenticeship does have the opportunity for an AAS degree. And I know often that journeyman card in your wallet is what the students want, but Rick said his knees and his shoulders and everything else hurt. So having that degree will help you, and absolutely help at some point in your life when you think, okay, now I'm going to use my noggin, and I'm going to do something, use my expertise in this field as well as my education, and hopefully, and it will create an advancement for you there. So I think the apprenticeship students at Lane are in a fantastic situation to have both the journeyman card and their 2-year degree. Also, I want to thank the panelists for spending the time with us tonight. I am thrilled to say that we have the 500 students showing up. We have amazing faculty. Every one of our apprenticeship faculty work during the day, and they're all part-time faculty, and they all are dedicated to their trades, and they come at night to teach our students. So hands off to them. Our coordinators, our students, our pre-apprenticeship students that are on here that can't wait to be apprentices. We celebrate you, because we're going to lift you up and take you to the top. So I will quit talking because it's now 5:15, but happy National Apprenticeship Week celebration, and thank you all for being here.